The U.S. did a form of local shuttle diplomacy, meeting with Ukrainians and Russians one after the other. The U.S. said we have a deal on a naval ceasefire, not on a general ceasefire, and we are going to implement the ceasefire on attacks on energy installations in Ukraine and Russia that was agreed the previous week and violated promptly by the Kremlin, by the way. The U.S. also said in that statement that we would look at things that Russia would like, for example, easing some of the sanctions on their banks involved in agriculture, helping Russia move fertilizer for sale in the West, and so on. The Russian statement was importantly different, demonstrating again their unwillingness to simply agree to common sense proposals for ceasefires. They listed as a host of conditions that must be fulfilled before Moscow would consider the ceasefire for implementation, removing many, many sanctions on the Russian economy. Why are these Russian conditions a problem? President Trump's real objective is to end the bloodletting, which again, almost all the blood spilled is on land in Ukraine. If we were to lift these sanctions as the Kremlin demands, if President Trump is willing to be ordered around by President Putin, then we are going to be strengthening the Russian economy, which means they'll be able to power the Russian war machine, which again continues on land. If we achieve a ceasefire on energy installations and at sea, Putin will still continue his war on land because he doesn't want a peace right now. He wants to take more of Ukrainian territory because his goal is the subjugation of Ukraine. The White House thinks if we get agreement on these smaller things by concessions to Moscow, they'll agree on the big thing. Well, no. Trump proposed two very sensible ideas to ensure Ukraine's security after a general ceasefire. One was the continuing arming of Ukraine, and two was the deployment of European troops to Ukraine. The Kremlin categorically rejected both of those conditions. We're not seeing in the negotiations to achieve a peace in Ukraine, a laudable objective for which Trump has put out some very good ideas, America pursuing peace by strength. We're seeing America pursuing peace by coddling the aggressor. That is not a recipe for real peace. One more point that's very important to make. The White House has spun this as a deal about naval ceasefire. A lot of the media, not all of it, has followed the White House lead, but that's inaccurate. I think we have to call it an apparent deal, a possible deal, a deal to come.